everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Hammond Collection figure from Mattel, and that is the Hammond Collection Jurassic Park 30th Anniversary Metriacanthosaurus. So this is a brand new, a new species for the Hammond Collection line, but it is a species that we are familiar with when it comes to Mattel. They have made quite a few Metriacanthosaurus figures throughout the years, and to finally get a out of nowhere Hammond Collection version one, I'm excited because I've seen the pictures. This thing is just going to be a top tier Metriacanthosaurus figure from Mattel, and I just can't wait to crack this thing open. I mean, it looks so cool. Looking at the packaging here, it's your normal standard, Hammond Collection packaging with the awesome 30th anniversary logo, the Hammond Collection logo, the title Metriacanthosaurus. So you can see the figure there on the side, which is looking really nice. Here at the top of the box, it's your normal typical stuff. Same right here. You got a cool render of the figure itself and the Jurassic Park logo, which is kind of weird because this dinosaur didn't appear in any of the movies physically, but it is part of the franchise, which is hence why they put it into this line, which is very interesting because this is not even an official design look for the animal. So that's really interesting. It would have been nice to get this guy in an actual movie so that they can put the actual movie design on it, but someday. But here on the back you got a cool render of the figure itself, the Jurassic Park logo, Hammond Collection logo, Mattel logo down there, and some other legal information. And here on the side you got a little bit of a bio. It just shows Dennis Nedry stealing the embryos out of that little embryo chamber from the first movie. And obviously, in case none of you know, one of the embryos that he took came from a Metriacanthosaurus, at least based on the names here. So essentially it did appear in the movie, but just not physically. And here's the little bio here that just says Metriacanthosaurus. After shutting down Jurassic Park's security system, Dennis Nedry makes his way to the cold storage room and secretly steals the embryos of the Metriacanthosaurus as well as other dinosaur species. Which is very accurate. This is what happened in the movie. And yeah, let's go ahead and crack this figure out of the box. Alrighty, and here we have the Hammond Collection Metriacanthosaurus out of the box. And I gotta say, this is a really nice looking figure. I know I say that all the time when I open all these. They always look good when you're out of the box anyway, but for the most part, it is a really nice looking figure. I'm just taking a look at it, fully here before we get into it a bit more. Really nice figure. I can already see that it's much better in proportions than Mattel's original Metriacanthosaurus figures. And yeah, I'm already noticing so much improvements with this figure than their older ones. Just right off the bat, it's already got a longer tail, in my opinion. It's got well proportionate feet, so it's obviously smaller. And the paint job and the sculpt work overall, it looks it's much better than the original. So taking a closer look at the head here, hopefully you guys can see it. I know the lighting on my phone here isn't very good. Obviously it depends on when I'm doing this out in the middle of the day, so hopefully you guys can see everything all right. But here you can see all the nice detail all across the head here, which looks really nice. And yeah, I'm already spotting out that the head here is much better than the original. So much about with this one is much better than the original one either way. You can kind of see the sculpt work around the eye is nice as well, like all these larger scales kind of molded in. Same with the bottom jaw as well, so really nice there. And like I said, the entire shape of the skull looks really nice as well. This doesn't even look like a Jurassic Park dinosaur. I mean, I know this guy hasn't appeared in any movies, at least physically anyways, and this thing just doesn't look like a Jurassic Park dinosaur figure. Like, if you would just see this on a shelf, this would just be like, oh cool, it's a cool articulated dinosaur figure, and not really the pronated arms or hands really give it away, because there are tons of dinosaur toys out there that aren't Jurassic Park related that have pronated arms or hands anyways. But I mean, yeah, this thing just looks really cool. It's just like a scientific dinosaur model that's posable, that collectors and kids can use and take pictures with and whatnot. But I mean, it's crazy, but it is a Jurassic Park figure, you know, it is a Mattel figure. That's what I like about it. It looks really nice. And the skull really reminds me that of an Allosaurus. It has like the Allosaurus-like quality to it. I don't even think there's been a full, complete skull of Metriacanthosaurus found, so this whole thing might be, you know, speculative, but, you know, I don't know for sure. Inside the mouth here, hopefully you can kind of see it, but it is nicely sculpted on the roof of the mouth. Same with the tongue, with a nice little texture, and it feels a lot more just like harder plastic than smooth and glossy like the other ones. And you got some nice detail on the skin flaps right there. And the teeth on this one are the actual like rubber pieces that are attached to the figure. So much like what Mattel's been doing with all of their toys recently, is not sculpting the teeth and painting them white, but molding like a rubbery material to look like teeth. So essentially these are not painted, so kids can be rough with this dinosaur as long as they want, and paint scuff won't appear on the teeth, which is awesome. I love how Mattel does that, and I hope they keep doing that. So it's really nice. So yeah, rubber teeth, really nice as well. Moving on to the neck right here, you got a lot of nice, you know, small scale detail, looking really nice. And then towards the bottom, it gets a lot more smoother, but there is a lot of sculpt work present, especially depending on where the shadows are hitting it. And you got a couple of nice little veins sticking out there, so really nice. It looks like a really thick and muscular neck too, much thicker than Mattel's previous Metriacanthosaurus figures, which is really cool. And here at the body, we'll move on to actually to the hands and arms. But here you can kind of see nice muscle definition throughout, and then nice sculpt work, you know, some little pebble scales throughout there. And then the hands are in a nice, like I said, pronated position, so it's like a classic Jurassic Park move right there. But you know, that's not always been a Jurassic Park thing. There was lots of dinosaurs earlier in the days were portrayed with pronated hands. So, and they're sculpted really nicely too. Nice 3 fingers, and you get the little scoots along the fingers, which are looking nice. And then here along the body, just a nice array of scales, some smaller ones, some larger ones, all mixed together, which is looking really nice. And you got a lot of nice muscle definition, so you can see a lot of the creases in the skin, and this is where like the shoulder blade would be. And then you can see the ribs peeking out here, which is really cool, really realistic. I do like that. And then here at the underside, you got some more, you know, smoother at least texturing across the underside. And then the legs here, legs are nicely sculpted. Look at all that scale detail. It actually looks really nice. And like I said, nice muscle definition throughout the leg. So here on the thigh, then here around the shin area. You got a little sculpt work around the kneecap right there. You can see the calves are shown pretty well. You know, they're popping out of the skin right there. You know, some nice scale work throughout. I like how we get some like larger scales right here that are kind of coming out of the skin a little bit. Has like that nice texture. And here on the feet, you got some nice bird-like scoots around the toes, and that goes up the ankle a little bit, which is really nice. And you got some nice texturing on the bottom of the feet as well. Just, you know, nice proportionate feet, so that's nice. Then here at the tail, nice long tail, and this one's a rubbery material, so whereas everything else is plastic, everything else here is rubber. So here at the underside, you know, more of that nice scale work and some more stretch marks along the tail right here, which looks really nice. So yeah, the tail probably has the most scales that are, I don't know, it's the way I see it, it's like the scales pop more when they're on like a rubbery material. I don't know why, than they do on actual plastic, but I mean, it all flows together very well in my opinion. So Mattel did a really nice job with the sculpt work on the tail. I like this little area where this part kind of sticks up, which is really nice. And yeah, the entire sculpt work on this entire Metriacanthosaurus is spot on, and it looks great, just like all the other Hammond collection dinosaurs. And I really do feel like Mattel is improving their Hammond collection figures as they continue to bring them out into the world, so that's really nice. the colors, I really do love the colors. Now, see, this is kind of like the weird thing here. It's one of those things where it's kind of a weird decision to bring this dinosaur into the Hammond collection, only because this dinosaur has not yet made an actual physical appearance in the franchise. I know technically it is part of it, you know, by name and DNA and all that, but we've never actually seen it, so we don't know if it's gonna have this coloration. We don't know if it's gonna have the website coloration, so it's kind of hard to tell. So this whole coloration is pretty much speculative for the Jurassic Park Metriacanthosaurus. I mean, Mattel could have easily given us the website coloration, but they didn't. So very interesting there. Much like the Irritator, it's kind of weird how they just brought a non-movie dinosaur into the toy line, because the Hammond collection is more like for the dinosaurs and humans that appeared in the movies themselves. So, but other than that, I am really happy to have this one. It's definitely nice to have an upgraded version of this dinosaur in my collection. You know, this one's going to be my definitive Metriacanthosaurus figure for anything Jurassic Park, rather than the original. But yeah, back to the colors. The colors are really nice. I love the mix of like I guess like earthy tones. You know, you got dark browns for like the head, and it kind of stripes down to the body and onto the leg, and then it kind of splotches down the tail, which is really nice. I do like that. And you got like this kind of like a light pinkish color for like the main rest of the body, which looks really nice. And you got like a beige color for underneath. Again, I really wish for this color to kind of continue down the tail, but you know, that's to be expected. And then we got some orange coloration on the front of the snout here, which makes it pop in my opinion. And you got a little bit of that underneath the eye itself. And I think there's like a different shade of orange for the eye itself. It's like a darker shade of an orange with like a brown pupil. But again, makes it stand out. And you got a bit of like the yellow coloration for the crest, which is really cool. So lots of nice colors applied to this figure. And then obviously not including the teeth, since these are all just a rubbery material, they're not painted. Inside of the mouth, on both sides, are all in this pink fleshy color, which looks great. And then, of course, you got the finger claws and toe claws painted, which is always a plus. Since Mattel seems to be only doing that with the Hammond collection rather than the main line, but, you know, that's alright. The dew claw, though, however, is not painted, which you can see on both sides of the feet right here. But yeah, the colors are spot on. Now for the main feature, obviously it's a Hammond collection figure, so it's going to be heavily articulated. Unfortunately, mine has a bit of a defect around the face area, though I will say I've seen a bunch of people who have gotten little defects on the heads of their Metriacanthosauruses, so I'm not the only one. There are tons of people that get them, which is unfortunate, but it still allows me to pose it in certain areas, or at least it will allow me to use it the way it's supposed to whenever I do take pictures with it. So the top part of the head here can open up and down, though it is very loose on mine. So that is unfortunate, but depending on which angle you have it, it can stay open. So, I mean, it's not too much of a big deal. And the lower jaw here can open and close, or the lower jaw can move up and down about that far and then that far. And I watched other videos, this is supposed to be true, so it can only move that far, which is surprising because usually the other figures have it move pretty wide, but not for this one. And as you can see, you know, my jaw is a bit crooked on mine, so it's kind of weird. And then this part of the jaw is also sticking out, so it's not hugging the neck, but you know, it is what it is. It's still able to close and open, at least for a little bit. Here at this part of the neck, can move up about that far, so it gets some nice, you know, range of motion, and it can move up and down, and I think it can also rotate fully from side to side like this. So not it can't go full 360. And this part of the neck here can move up and down, left and right, and can also rotate all the way around. So this thing, you can get some nice, you know, neck movements for it looking to the side. You know, you can look up or you can look down. So nice range of motion there. And here at the shoulders, they can pivot in and out, and they can pretty much go 360. Yeah, they can go 360. And here at the elbow, they can move forward and backwards. And they can also swivel, so nice range of motion there. Then here at the thighs, or the legs anyways, they can move. Okay, well mine can move up only about that far. And then it can't really move, well actually, you might be able to get 360, but I wouldn't force it. But they can move forward and backwards, which is all you really need anyway. And they can pivot in and out. Oh, I like the scale worker in here too. Reminds me of a Komodo dragon a little bit. And here at the knee, it can bend forward like that. And like that. And it can also swivel. And then here at the ankle, you can put it up and put it down. And that too can also swivel all the way around 360. And here at the feet can go down about that far and up about that far, so you can get some nice walking and running poses, and it can also rotate 360. So really nice range of motion on this Metriacanthosaurus, much like all the other Hammond collection dinosaurs. So, you know, it's all the same. And then obviously the tail right here can move up, at least where you attach it, move up and down, left to right, you know, and it can rotate as well. And it's also, the tail is made out of a rubbery bendy wire, so you can bend it in some cool little positions. So really nice, really neat. We'll go ahead and move on to comparisons. Here we got a human figure, and the dinosaur is already falling down. And I think it's fairly accurate. I think Metriacanthosaurus was actually a bit smaller than this in real life, but yet again, this is a Jurassic Park version, so most of those are all bigger anyway. And then we'll go ahead and compare the Metriacanthosaurus with some other Hammond collection medium-sized carnivores. In this case, we'll show off some of the other dinosaurs that shared the same environment with this dinosaur on the islands, or on the island of Isla Nublar. So for the theme park of Jurassic World, there was Baryonyx and Ceratosaurus, which if you've watched, okay, I've already knocked it down. But like I was saying, if you watched Camp Cretaceous, which is canon, they pretty much confirmed that Ceratosaurus lived on Nublar as well. So here we got the main three medium-sized carnivores of Isla Nublar at the time. So really cool. They all look really nice together. The colors, the detail. This is why I love Hammond collection. They all just look super cool together. But yeah, these look great. Last but not least, here we have the Hammond collection Metriacanthosaurus compared with Mattel's very first Metriacanthosaurus figure to ever be released. This was a 2018 release, so yes, definitely a while ago. And as you can see, there's just huge improvements here. And my Ceratosaurus is already falling next to me. But anyways, taking a look at the head here, there's just huge differences. The head on the Hammond collection is much better. It has a much more definitive crest sticking out. And this head, the more I look at it, the more it's like, wow, this thing just doesn't look too good when compared to the superior Metriacanthosaurus right here. Here we can close the mouth, and yeah, really different in terms of head sculpt for sure. And then obviously in terms of the body, just an overall different figure. It's kind of hard to see, but just a much different figure. This one has like a really cool little spine thingy on the back, which is kind of cool because it's reminiscent to its name. You know, Metriacanthosaurus means moderately spined lizard, so it would have been cool to see like a cool little spine, little feature up there. But you know, just the generic theropod look that this guy gives is really cool. I do like that as well. And the claws and the hands are much more longer than this one. The feet, I hated the feet on this one. They just look terrible. They don't look that good. They look really ugly, in my opinion. I mean, I like how they're small, but this is the better theropod feet right there. And then I think the tail is pretty long on this one too, but I do think the other one is far more longer. So better proportionate. Plus this one can't stand, so this thing just wasn't having it. And this thing can stand perfectly, so Really cool to compare the past and the present with the Metriacanthosaurus figures. And yeah, it's crazy to see how much Mattel has changed and evolved over time. But yeah, that's basically gonna wrap it up for this review. For my final thoughts, I love this Metriacanthosaurus figure. Highly recommend it. The colors are great. The detail obviously is great and much more superior than the original. Can't go wrong with articulation, of course. And yeah, I really love it. That's my take on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.